Hey there everybody and welcome back. For those of you that are interested in learning how to put ads in your Appgyver mobile app, stay tuned. I'm going to be walking through the basics of a method I think may work for you in today's video. Before we get started, don't forget to like and subscribe and check out the channel for new content. Alright, so there are going to be 4 steps to this. I'm going to show a quick demo of it and explain why I think it'll work. And I say think because I'm not sure if it'll work 100% for the Appgyver apps just yet. But again, we'll go into that in a minute. So over here on the right hand side, I have the Appgyver preview app opened on my Z Fold 4. So pretty simple process. We have the Codeless Fix website here. And if I go over to codelessfix.com, you'll see that I'm on this page here, which is the same page I'm on the right hand side, except the right hand side is loaded in the Appgyver preview app. And you'll see that we actually see this ad here, and it shows at the bottom of the screen on the web app or the actual website. So we do see ads appearing in the Appgyver preview app, which is why I think this will work for other apps as well. Now, the main thing to note here is we are not using AdMob. If you don't know what that is, if you scroll through different websites online, you'll see that this is something that's in the backlog. Now, at the time of filming this video, I don't think there is currently any kind of ad integration with Appgyver, though a new edition was released recently of the Community Edition. Don't know if it's been added there. But I know that this has been something a lot of people have been asking about in different forums online. I made a video on banner ads, but this is not something you monetize. It's just making a banner ad within Appgyver. So with that being said, we know that we can get these ads loaded in this method for a website. So let's walk through the 4 steps. I'll give a high-level overview, then I'll walk through actually doing it. Now, one thing I do want to note, I'm going to preface this video by saying I want to make sure that you're following any and all applicable laws, rules, regulations, and guidelines when doing this, not only when adding or creating a website with ads, but also when uploading this to the different app stores. So this is for educational purposes only. So step 1 is to build your app in Appgyver. Pretty simple. And step 2 is going to be to export your app and get it uploaded online somewhere. So the idea here is I'll have some links in the video description where you can walk through how to put your app online as a web app. Then step 3 is to sign up and get it set up in AdSense, Google AdSense. And then step 4 is to build the actual mobile app that renders your web app in the mobile app. Now, I'm sure that sounds a little bit confusing, so let's walk through it together. So let's just say that codelessfix.com is my Appgyver app. I have built it in Appgyver. That's not the case. I built it using a different website, but just for today's example. So this is the Appgyver app, and I've hosted it online. And there'll be a link in the video description on how to do that. But we have our web app hosted online. So what we would then need to do is we would need to get AdSense set up and hooked up to this website, which we've done. And then really the last step is to get our mobile app set up to render this web app in the actual mobile app. The reason for this is there's no direct integration with Appgyver, so you can't directly hook it up to your mobile app. But if you upload your app online as a web app, and then you build a mobile app that just pulls up the web app, it will look like an app that has ads. So I know that's quite a few different steps. Let's walk through it really, really quickly. So first and foremost, you're going to need to go ahead and finish up your Appgyver app. That process is still the same. Go ahead, build it out the way that you want it, bearing in mind it's going to be hosted as a web app. Then you can go to launch, go to distribute, and go through the process of hosting your web app online. Again, more links in the video description. Once that's been done, the next step is going to be to go ahead and get Google AdSense set up. So you can go to Google AdSense, and then when you do, you'll log in or sign up and create an account, which may require some tax information. Once you've done that, you will have a page kind of like this. So you'll have all of these different options on the left-hand side, and you'll see I have codelessfix.com here, which is authorized, and I have ads being displayed there. You can click New Site and add your website here. You can find other videos online about, really just from people who know more about Google AdSense than I do. Now, a couple of things to note. You'll see this option here shows needs attention, and this is actually a web app I built in Appgyver. This is part of the reason I'm not 100% sure that this will work. So the idea here is, I think there are a couple of things you need to consider when you're hosting your web app online. Google AdSense can turn down or deny your ability to create ads and put them on that site. So they review your website, and you have to make sure that you've basically done everything in all of these different pages. So you have to create high quality content. You have to make sure that you're checking their policies and restrictions. So there are a couple of things that I think can get you rejected. First, if your app is not a high quality app or website. Second, if you don't have the correct cookie policies and things of that nature. I say that because when I close out of this, codelessfix.com was built using a very similar online editor to careerbuilderhq.com. And what I noticed was CareerBuilderHQ was rejected when I first submitted it because I don't think it had the correct cookie policies and other settings, but the quality was very similar. So again, I'm not going to go into too much detail here. If you have issues with your app getting rejected, then I would just recommend going through and continuing to make changes and follow all of these policies here, and then you can request a review. Now, it can take anywhere from 1 to 2 weeks or more or less, depending on a ton of different factors. Now, when you've connected your site, you'll see that there is basically this settings here. This will give you a code snippet. So there are a couple of different ways to actually connect your website. So for example, if we were to click new site, and let's just say we tried to put in google.com, you probably shouldn't try to do this, but it's also a restricted domain. So let's just say you type in whatever website and it works. You're going to then land on a page like this. The connect option is basically what's going to have a code snippet to put on your website. The alternative is to use an ads.txt file. So this next step is what we're going to do. So when you get your ads.txt file from AdSense, you can then go to your web app that's hosted online. For example, codelessfix.app has this Appgyver app that I built, and this is just the site. And you'll see my ads.txt file is right here. So I've dropped it in, and that's all that there is to it. Once you've dropped it in, you will then request your website have a review, and then you wait for Google AdSense to approve it. Once you've had it approved, you will then start to see ads in your website. Now, you may be wondering, okay, perfect. I have a website, but I don't have an app. The last step is probably the easiest. So once you've made it through all of those steps, you just need to figure out what's the best way to get your app to pull up that site. So you have a couple of options. If you've used Appgyver in the past, you know that there's a page layout option. And the idea here is our app is only going to have one page, although you could add different pages if you wanted to. For simplicity's sake, we'll say your entire app is hosted online. So what we'll do is our home page, we would just say that's the only page. And then in the page layout, our logic is page mounted, hide spinner. This is there by default. All we're going to do is have open web browser. And then we're just going to type in the URL to our web app. Now, what happens is when this app loads, so I'll move this so that I can save, and you'll see the app will refresh. And this is what would happen if the app was opened. It just loads the website. Now, as the user is navigating, if they click on a page that has ads and they start navigating throughout and using it, then you'll see all of a sudden you will have ads appear. So this would be the app that we would then publish to the various Play stores or to the various stores. Now, a couple of things I want to preface this video with noting or just kind of the upload process. Again, I don't know what stores will accept this and if this would violate any policies, so you need to make sure that you're following all regulations and rules when doing this. But as you can see, those steps would potentially work for creating an app and then putting ads in that app and then loading that app in another app. So I know it's very confusing, but I hope that this helped. If you have any